Let's head overseas. Brent O'Halloran has been crunching the numbers to look at how President Joe Biden's first 100 days compares to previous presidencies.
Well, there are a few stats, a few metrics which give us a bit of an objective gauge of President Biden's performance. Firstly, the one so often referenced in the media, the president's approval rating. Take a look at this snake. This is an aggregate of the reputable opinion polls over Joe Biden's 100 days in office. And as you can see, it's pretty flat. He came into the White House with an approval rating of 53%. It peaked at around 60%, and today it's slightly lower. A recent Washington Post poll indicates 53% of Americans approve of the job Joe Biden is doing, 42% disapprove. Trump's rating was almost the exact reverse at the same time in his presidency, a 42% approval and a 53% disapproval. The Washington Post poll also records a great divide in the party's views of Joe Biden. 90% of Democrats approve of Biden's performance, compared with 13% of Republicans. Now to the economy. How well is Joe Biden managing the world's biggest economy? Well, one of the most important stats here is the unemployment rate. It's trending downward, of course. It was dire towards the start of the pandemic, 14.8% unemployment in April of last year. Around 30 million Americans filed for unemployment that month. The rate is now around 6%. More than 500,000 Americans filed for benefits last week. But analysts say the actual number of out-of-work Americans is likely much higher. Remember, Trump did exceptionally well with getting more Americans into work, particularly minorities. That was, of course, before the pandemic hit. So what has Joe Biden done exactly? How much has he achieved politically? Well, he's signed more executive orders, memorandums, and proclamations than any of the past three presidents. In terms of legislation, the administration hasn't achieved too much there, though his $1.9 trillion COVID relief package did scrape through Congress. Remember, his Democratic Party has razor-thin majorities in both the House and the Senate. They may have to revamp filibuster rules to get some of the more ambitious proposals through, like the $2.3 trillion infrastructure and jobs bill. On to the pandemic. Biden, of course, inherited one of the biggest health crises of modern times. On his first day in office, there were 4,380 reported COVID deaths in the US. Fast forward to Monday this week, there were 279. Also on Inauguration Day, less than 5% of Americans had received at least one dose of a COVID vaccine. This week, that's around 46%, more than 140 million people. Migration and border security has also been in the spotlight over the past 100 days. Kids are in cages was the catch cry for critics of President Trump. Well, that's still the situation at the US southern border. Children are still being detained in record number, 18,880 in March alone. And finally, how is Biden using the world's most powerful military? Well, he's ordered one military strike that we know of. That was an airstrike on an Iranian-backed militia in Syria. More than 223,000 American troops are in at least 50 countries. Biden pledged to pull out all 2,500 remaining troops from Afghanistan by September 11 this year, ending America's longest deployment. Though he has ramped up military spending, requesting $753 billion for the Pentagon in this year's budget. The US continues to spend more in this area than the next 10 countries combined.